Base Case Season 2, Episode 20, Diminished Scale Theory, Part 1. Okay, over the last two episodes, I've given you some basic structural, I guess what you call reasoning, on and over the half-whole diminished scale. And just to recap those last two episodes, I demonstrated half-whole diminished scale ascending one octave, and then I did it again descending one octave, and then I went to the half-whole diminished scale and did it ascending and descending one octave plus. I did that one to show that the finger pattern just continues. And that finger pattern being alternating half step, whole step as far as the instrument can allow you to. And then I gave you the half-whole diminished lick number one. And just to clarify, I did not invent this lick. It's part of what my jazz improv instructor would have called the public domain, and I can't even remember where I first heard and learned it, but it came back several years ago when I was teaching it. And it's a good way of, it's a good lick, it's a useful lick, and can get you out of some tight spots on certain chords, particularly, as I mentioned, the flat nine dominant chords, and just altered dominant chords in general, and I'm going to give a episode on that too. And what I'm talking about lately has been those flat nine dominant chords on those minor 2-5-1 progressions. And you can use it on other chord qualities, and I will go into that later, but, you know, particularly dominants that are altered with more than one, just the flat nine, I mean sharp nines and sharp 11s, etc. But I think it's important to clarify one, in this case the flat nine, and then move out from there. And I wanted to go out a little further, you know, and part of what I talked about was asymmetrical and symmetrical scales. And asymmetrical is like your major scale and its modes. There's not a simple pattern to it, right? With major scales, there's major second to minor second to major second, etc. With symmetrical, as I mentioned, it does the same thing. Like for the half step, whole step, I'm kind of repeating myself a lot, but you do half step, then you go whole step, and you go half step and whole step, and it does that into infinity if necessary. But to go further, I like the way Mark Levine defines this, and he said with asymmetrical scales, there's always 12 of them, one for each key, right? So for major scale, there's 12, right? C major, we can go up chromatically. There's C major, D flat major, D major, and so on. But as he says in his book, with symmetrical scales, there are less than 12 of them. Now listen carefully. And if you ever take notes on my podcast episode, this is the one time that you should, concerning half-whole scale. Okay, the first one, which was, I really had to do a lot of studying on this when I was a student. There are only, okay, keep in mind, when we talk about major scales or Dorians, there's 12 of those, right? There's 12 major scales, one for each key. But for half-whole diminished scales, there are only 3. And those 3, as Dan Hurley wrote in one of his books, serve 4 keys each. So one of those half-whole diminished scales can serve 4 keys. The next one serves a different 4 keys, and the next one serves the other 4 keys. Now let me go another way. Let's take that C half-whole diminished scale. You can use that pattern I showed you on YouTube and play that C half-whole diminished scale, ascending and descending. Okay, now from C, play it up a minor third. That means that the starting note will be E flat. Use the same fingerings. Okay, now if you toggle between the two, or any way otherwise looking at it, it is the same scale. They're just starting on different notes. It's got the same notes in it if you begin on C. It's got the same notes in it, but you're just beginning on E flat. It is in essence the same scale. Okay, let's keep going because we said there's four, or one that serves four keys. If I'm on E flat, I'm going to go up a minor third again and start on G flat or F sharp inharmonically, whichever way you want to look at it, and play that same half whole scale using the same fingerings. It's the same exact notes as the one you started when you did it on C and E flat. Okay, one more. I'm still going to go up a minor third. A minor third from that G flat to F sharp is an A. Play that half whole scale. It's the same one. Okay, so there's really only one for those four. C, E flat, G flat, or F sharp if you want to look at it, and A. Doesn't matter. They're just starting on different notes. So you have those four scales, but they're really the same one, just starting on different notes. Now I could do that on C sharp and move up in minor thirds and play the C sharp half whole diminished scale on C sharp, and then move it up in minor third to E, and then move it up in minor third to G, and move it up in minor third to B flat, and the same thing happens, and then do it on D, and that's all of them. Now think about the mileage you get, not only out of the scale. Now let's take it in a slightly different direction. But more importantly, the half whole diminished lick number one. If I see a C7 flat 9 chord and I want to use the half whole lick number one starting on that one, using that, I can start it on the note C. If I see that same chord, that C7 flat 9, I can start that lick on E flat and it's going to fit on there. It's going to have a different character because I'm starting and using different notes in different places, but I'm still playing the same lick. I'm just starting it. I could start that lick number one on G flat for that C7 flat 9 chord, and it's going to sound good too. It's going to sound slightly different, but it's still going to fit the same way. And again, I can use the half whole lick number one starting on note A for that C7 flat 9 chord, and I've got it. So you're going to get more mileage out of this lick this way. Now check it out. Play with this. There's more to do. There's way, like they say, there's way much more. But start there because that's your basic foundation of understanding diminished harmonies. That's why they're so much different and more well used, because you can just get more mileage out of one lick. That's a lot of information to take in. Play around with it. If you have questions, as always, email me at phil@basscase.co. I'll talk to you soon.